Bangladesh is witnessing one of the most turbulent periods in its recent political history, marked by mass protests, political violence, and sudden leadership uncertainty. Public frustration in Bangladesh had been building for months, driven by political repression, economic pressure, and growing distrust in the electoral process. Amid this unrest, protests spread across major cities, transforming into a nationwide movement demanding political change. Aftermath of the 2024 mass uprising. The 2024 mass uprising in Bangladesh began as a student-led movement and quickly grew into a nationwide protest that forced longtime leader Sheikh Hasina from power. While the uprising marked a historic shift, it did not bring immediate stability. In the aftermath, Bangladesh entered a fragile transition marked by political uncertainty and weakened institutions. Groups that had united during the protests soon fragmented. Youth and student factions split over strategy and ideology, while Islamist groups moved to expand their influence amid the power vacuum. At the same time, remnants of older political parties attempted to reorganize and reclaim relevance. As a result, the post-uprising period has been defined by continued unrest, shifting alliances, and unresolved tensions, with a stable political order yet to fully emerge. Interim government and election tensions. The interim government, led by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, is preparing to hold national elections scheduled for the 12th of February 2026. However, the process has generated significant political tension and public uncertainty. Opposition leaders, including BNP figure Tariq Rahman, have expressed strong dissatisfaction with both the timing and the proposed framework of the elections. Critics argue that the current roadmap does not guarantee a level playing field or sufficient political inclusiveness. There is also controversy surrounding the potential role of previously banned parties, particularly the Awami League, as well as broader concerns about fair political representation during the transition period. These unresolved disputes have contributed to renewed protests, shifting political alliances, and growing doubts about whether the upcoming election can deliver stability and public confidence. Death of a youth leader. In mid-December 2025, Sharif Osman Hadi, a well-known protest leader, was killed, sparking a new wave of unrest across Bangladesh. His death triggered large demonstrations in Dhaka and several other cities, with strong participation from youth and student groups who viewed him as a key symbol of the movement. The protests quickly escalated, with clashes reported between demonstrators and security forces. Incidents of vandalism and destruction of public and private property were recorded in multiple locations. Tensions deepened further following attacks on media offices, raising concerns about press freedom and public safety. Additionally, the emergence of anti-India slogans during demonstrations added a regional dimension to the unrest, complicating an already volatile political environment. Diplomatic fallout and regional impact. The ongoing violence in Bangladesh has begun to affect its diplomatic relations, particularly with neighboring India. Amid rising unrest, Bangladeshi authorities suspended certain Indian visa services, citing security and administrative concerns during the crisis. At the same time, the situation has had cross-border repercussions. Protests linked to developments in Bangladesh have taken place in several Indian cities, including demonstrations and clashes outside Bangladeshi diplomatic missions. These incidents have increased political and diplomatic sensitivity between the two countries. While neither side has taken steps toward direct confrontation, the unrest has added strain to bilateral relations and heightened regional tensions. The developments underscore how internal instability in Bangladesh is now producing wider diplomatic and regional consequences. Major forms of unrest. Bangladesh has experienced several forms of unrest over the past year, with street protests remaining the most visible. Demonstrations have occurred frequently, particularly in Dhaka, and have at times escalated into violent clashes with police and paramilitary forces. Alongside protests, political violence has increased sharply. Data from civic monitoring groups indicates a significant rise in factional fighting and mass demonstrations, resulting in over 100 deaths and thousands of injuries nationwide during the past year. There have also been targeted attacks linked to the unrest. Media organizations, religious minorities, and government institutions have been affected, raising serious concerns about press freedom, public safety, and social cohesion. Together, these developments reflect the depth and complexity of Bangladesh's current instability. Bangladesh is currently in a fragile transitional phase following major political upheaval. In 2024, a student-led uprising brought an end to a long-standing government, fundamentally reshaping the country's political landscape. Since then, an interim administration has been tasked with managing constitutional reforms while preparing the country for national elections. However, the transition has proven difficult. Competing pressures from youth and student groups, opposition political parties, Islamist organizations, and elements of civil society have created conflicting demands and priorities. Rather than moving toward consensus, these divisions have contributed to continued protests, political tension, and uncertainty. As a result, Bangladesh remains caught between dismantling the old political order and establishing a stable and broadly accepted new one.